All right, hey, Scott Schneider here. I'm going to show you how to tie a double fisherman's. We're going to make a Prussik. You can actually take about 4 feet of about a 5 mil cord to do it. How I'm going to start with, I'm going to take one of my working ends, wrap it around my thumb once, a second time making an X, and then poke it through. This is actually a barrel knot here to start. Then I'm going to take my other end, take that other working end, stick it through the middle of this barrel knot here. Try to keep it a little looser so it's easier to push through. Okay, slide about, I don't know, what is that, 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches. I'm going to hang on to that knot, put my thumb down over the rope, go around once. I'm going to take maybe a little more rope once. Again, making that X as I come across. Slide my thumb out here, and then I'm going to poke that working end through. And then I should, if done correctly, I'll kind of pull on both sides of this loop, cinch it up, and then notice that the ends will be, depending on the size of your rope and your Prussik, but about 1 inch. So it should be about double the size of the knot, like enough to kind of fold over and touch each other. But if tied correctly, it should have 4 parallel lines here and then 2 X's. So this loop here is called a Prussik loop, which we'll use to belay ourselves up a rope in a minute. So this is step 1 of the Prussik. You can also have a Prussik that is pre-sewn. That's another option, but a lot of courses will have this set up here. We have to make your own. How I utilize this is I'm going to tie it. In this application, I'm just going to show you on this foot cable, but generally speaking, I'm going to tie it to another rope, multi-line. And how I do it, you can do a Prussik is generally 3 wraps, but in our contest, we're going to use it 2 wraps to ascend a rope. So I'm going to kind of take my Prussik, make almost like a horseshoe underneath whatever I'm tying it to, pass that knot through once, pass it through a second time, and then I'm going to pull that knot here on a little bit of an angle to offset it, and then I want to dress this Prussik. So this is technically a Prussik here, but I want to dress it so that they're all kind of parallel to one another, and then I'll kind of cinch this up. So if tied correctly, and like I said, in our application, we're just doing a 2 wrap Prussik. It should be nice and clean here with my 4 strands and then kind of a loop going over the top. And then notice my knot is offset because I'm going to clip in here where my thumb is. So it's slightly offset. So this is a 2 wrap or double wrapped Prussik.
So now that we know how to tie the Prussik, we're going to get ready to climb. The first thing that I want to do before I climb is make sure that I've gone through all of my safety checks with a partner. So I've made sure that my harness looks good. I have my lobster claws, which is going to be my safety system that I transfer into. My helmet's on, it's tight, and I have my Prussiks and my carabiner to go and climb. The other thing I want to be mindful of is my ladder that's going to help me get up to the staples. At our challenge course, the ladder needs to either be strapped to the pole or being held by someone else. This is called an NRS strap. You can ratchet it down like this, and you can see it's nice and tight. This ladder has solid footing, and it's not going anywhere. So my safety checks are good, my ladder's good, I have everything I need, so I'm gonna go ahead and start climbing. In a way, climbing up the ladder is kind of the riskiest part of what we're gonna be doing, so I just wanna be mindful and be safe while I'm doing this. So now that I can reach the multi-line here, I might come up one more. I'm going to pause and go ahead and get clipped into my belay system, which is my Prussik. So I'm going to use 2, and just like we talked about earlier, I'm going to make those 2 wraps. So I've got 1 wrap, 2 wraps, and then I'm pulling it off at an angle and making sure that my Prussik is nice and dressed. So you can see all my lines are parallel right here. I'm going to go ahead and clip that in, and here comes my second one. I'm doing the same exact thing. So we got 1, 2 wraps, pulling it at an angle, and then making sure that it is nice and dressed. Sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and clip this into my carabiner. You should use a locking carabiner for this, and I'm gonna go ahead and lock that down, give it a little quick test, and then I've gotten my knot a little bit in my carabiner here, so I would if I can't finagle it, I'd rather redo it just in case. But I think we're gonna be good. Cool. So the Prussiks kind of grab onto the contours of the multi-line. So if you get stuck and you need to kind of loosen these up, you can pull on this tongue right here, and that is what will kind of loosen it up and allow you to keep moving. As I'm climbing up, I want to make sure that this is kind of staying from like my mid-thigh to my chest. So it's not getting way down by my feet or way up above my head, especially if I take a fall and it's like way below me, that's the farther I fall. So I feel good, and I'm gonna go ahead and get climbing. So we made it to the top, and my next step is that I want to transition my belay system. So right now, this is my primary safety system, my Prussiks that I climbed up on, and I'm going to be using my lobster claws to belay me. I never want to take these off and then put these on, because then I'm up here 30 feet in the air with nothing clipping me in. So I'm going to start by clipping these onto my cable that's got green tape on it. Give them a safety check, they look good to go. So now I'm good to clean my Prussiks. So I'm just gonna go ahead and unscrew this carabiner and take my Prussiks off. And then I will just store these on my harness when I am done. So Prussik climbing up is a great way to enter the course as a facilitator. At this point, we're now ready to either run the course statically or dynamically. Today we're going to talk about dynamic setups, so I'm going to go ahead and jump into that. I have brought all the gear up with me that I need for a dynamic setup. We will do inspections for all of these on the ground before we come up, but just to kind of talk through what we're going to use, I have 3 pieces of hardware here. All of this is metal, so when I inspected this, I'm just looking to make sure that there's no rust that is like compromising the quality of the metal. Anything that's like pitted is bad. This is a pulley. It's called a cable pulley. It's my first piece. It's going to go directly on the cable, and I just want to make sure this wheel is spinning freely, and it is. This piece is called a quick link, and this is called a shear reduction device, or SRD, and this is what my rope is going to go through. So if I want to do my dynamic setup on this element, I'm going to start with my cable pulley, and I like to put all of my hardware on this side of my lobster claws so that if I let it go, it doesn't go zooming to the middle and I can't get it. At this point, this also could fall to the ground, so I just want to be mindful of people below me and making sure that I have a good grip on this. So the way that we put the pulley on the cable is just by spreading it open. It just opens up like that, and I slide it over top of the pulley and then close it back. I then am going to put my quick link through this hole right here and go ahead and screw this down, and I am screwing down so I don't screw up. So one more time, we've got our cable pulley, our quick link, and our SRD. So I'm okay to let this go because my lobster claws are keeping it from flying away. The last thing that I am going to do is put my rope through the SRD. I also inspected my rope on the ground, so I flaked it out, just making sure that there's no soft spots, hard spots, core visible in any spot, anything like that. And then as I feed this through, it just goes up this way, through the middle, and then down through this side. So you just follow the pattern of the hardware. And I'm gonna go ahead and start lowering this down to the ground. As I'm doing this, I want to be mindful that I'm splitting my element. So basically what that means is that this is our metal foot cable down here, and I want one side on one side of the cable and the other side of the rope off to the other side. So this side is going entirely on this side, and once I reach the ground, I'll pause. Whoop. Awesome. And then this is just a soft bag in the rope, so I'm okay to just drop this down to the ground. I am going to yell rope before I do so. Rope! And notice how I just threw that off to the other side of the cable, so we are splitting the element. This dynamic setup is good from up top. If I were going to climb on it, I would put a stopper knot in the side that my belayer is belaying on, and then you can tie in using a figure 8 on the other side. At this point, I'm good to go down, so I can either choose to Prussik climb back down, or I can get lowered by someone on the ground off of this dynamic setup.